2024 saw the most number of cases where offenders were charged and sentenced in Singapore for online child sexual abuse and exploitation. It is the highest number since amendments to the Penal Code were made in 2019. Now, the changes led to the introduction of specific punishable offences that did not exist before to better protect minors. Offences range from showing sexual images to a minor to possessing child abuse materials. And to tell us more, I'm now joined by CNE's Aslam Shah. Aslam, welcome. So tell us for a start, why did you decide to work on this story?
Well, late last year, I went for a course, a journalist course organised by the ASEAN Secretariat. And over there, we had people from the United Nations and other child protection agencies share about the gravity of the issue, about how worldwide more and more children are being exploited online sexually. And, what I found out as well from my fellow journalists around the ASEAN region as well is quite shocking to me. For example, there are many cases of parents in the Philippines, for example, where they actually produce materials and sell it to others to earn money because of poverty. Now, in the Philippines, in 2021, about 2 million children were subjected to online sexual abuse and exploitation. And also, I found out that in Thailand, about 1 million victims in 2022. Now, the impact on every single child is life-changing in a negative way. And this happens all in countries that are very close to home. So I really wanted to find out what's the situation like in Singapore. And recently also, many news articles have reported on court cases where we have seen some high-profile cases. For example, an NTU research fellow was found with about 90 images of children being sexually abused in his phone. And another case, quite recently, there was about 10,000 hours of pornography in a person's device, and that includes child abuse material. So the rampant of such reports and also the knowledge of such cases worldwide has made me want to find out a bit more.
So these are very high-profile, very concerning cases, Aslam. What have you found?
So in Singapore, there has been changes to the Penal Code in 2019. So before that, such cases were charged under broader laws. So what I found out from the courts is that when it comes to offences relating to child abuse and exploitation online, most of it is related to owning and consuming such materials. Other types of crime are the production of such materials as well. Now, for charges, for example, now we can see that over the years, the number has gradually gone up. So more and more people are being charged. And this is based on a selected list of crimes when it's involving online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. Now, when it comes to sentencing as well, we've seen quite a steady increase over the years as well. Now, just to understand a bit further the difference between exploitation and abuse, I mean, different bodies have slight different variation in its definition. But in general, when it comes to abuse, there is direct communication or direct contact between the abuser and the victim. Mm-hmm. So, for example, things like sexual communication with a minor or online sexual grooming of a minor. But when it comes to sexual exploitation, the perpetrator and the victim may not even be communicating or in contact. For example, consuming child porn or owning child porn materials. So for all these crimes, perpetrators do face jail time.
You said the number of charges and the number of people sentenced have gone up from 2020 till 2024. But how worried should we be about these numbers?
Well, it's not necessarily that there is more criminals out there in Singapore. As mentioned, there were changes to the laws which makes it easier to target certain online sexual crimes against children. Mm-hmm. And of course, these laws take time to take full effect. It may take years before someone is charged. It may take years before sentencing happen. And in between charging and sentencing, there could be time as well. Cases take time to investigate. Now, the numbers also show a gradual increase. It could be possible that it's due to the police ramping up measures. Recently, the police have, coordinated with other agencies around the world and also invested in technology to better detect such crimes.
So the SPF is ramping up these measures, but what can the police actually do to stop such crimes?
So, of course, there is operational secrecy that the police did not really share with me in detail about what do they do exactly. But under the Criminal Investigation Department, the police has a specialized crime branch which investigates CSAM materials, child sexual exploitation material. And I managed to speak to the head of the branch, and he shared with me a bit more about what he has to deal with. Everything from hard drives full of child porn to devices that contain sexual communication with kids comes here. Set up in 2023, the special lab's purpose is to uncover evidence.
Because those who possess it create a demand and a supply for the materials. There will then be people who try to meet the supply, and consequently children get abused. So those that possess child sexual abuse materials are also complicit in the sexual abuse of children.
New technology like AI software has been helping officers go through the sheer volume of sexual materials to sieve out those that involve kids. In recent times, the police have also uncovered AI-generated child porn using photos downloaded online.
Our children are having easy access to online platforms. This makes them more susceptible to offences like sextortion and also unsolicited sexual communication with adults online. Globally, we are seeing this worrying trend where there's live streaming of child sexual exploitation activities. So offenders across the world, they will transmit money electronically to these abusers, who could be either parents or guardians of the children, and they will sexually abuse the children in real time.
The cross-border nature of such crimes is why there's an Interpol database to match child abuse materials that may be traced to suspects in Singapore. Cooperation with overseas police forces has also been stepped up, and it's been paying off. A recent 5-week operation led to over 400 arrests for online child sexual exploitation. Seized items include 84 computers, 279 phones, 32 tablets, and 150 storage devices. Those found guilty of possessing child abuse material can get up to 5 years jail and caning.
These crimes leave an indelible mark in the young victims, and we should together, collectively as a society, protect them and look out for any risk that they may be exposed to online.
So Aslam, more enforcement on the SPF side, but is this enough? What about the tech companies, especially those platforms where these children are mostly on? What are they doing about this?
So the materials of child sexual abuse and exploitation, they appear on open source platforms. For example, your Googles, YouTubes, Telegrams. So I reached out to all of them, including Meta, TikTok, and X as well. Now, a YouTube spokesperson says, I mean, in general, all these companies, they have very little tolerance, zero tolerance, in fact, against child sexual abuse and exploitation. And they actually invest in a lot of technology and also measures that improves over the years to tackle such material. Now, YouTube spokesperson talked to me about these investments and efforts. But despite that, in Q2 of 2024, they had to remove, wait for it, it's about 164,000 channels and over 5 million videos globally for violating their child safety policies. And Meta, they have their own dedicated Take It Down platform that supports minors who are worried that maybe their intimate images might be shared online. They have their own tools to take down these materials. But in the second quarter of 2024, they had to take action on 9.7 million pieces of content when it comes to child sexual exploitation. Now, despite these strict measures adopted by the tech companies, the abuse can still happen. Now, even if the materials are taken down, we do know that, there could be that window where it's being downloaded or is being kept and could re-emerge for a while. Now, I spoke to counselors who had to deal with victims of abuse, and they shared with me about how, because of the nature of the internet, some of their clients, some of the victims they had to deal with, have to bear with the consequences of it for a very long time.
As a young teenager, she was involved in a relationship with a much older man who then groomed her and coerced her to perform sexual activities, which she then recorded. And after the relationship ended, he actually posted them online and onto porn sites. And well, she did make a report and managed to get some of the content removed, but it was not completely removed.
This non-profit regularly counsels youths who are victims of sexual abuse. For many, it's a long journey to recovery. In the virtual world, sexual exploitation can happen to anyone, anytime.
The impact on the child can be long-lasting and very profound, affecting every area of their life. Emotionally and psychologically, they may face a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. They may have depressive symptoms, a sense of hopelessness, prolonged sadness, and also it may impact their brain development.
Many child victims of online sex abuse stay silent due to shame and fear. This means most reports come from parents, and many cases go unnoticed if kids don't share openly. Experts say one solution is to have open conversations about device and internet use.
It is progressive. It is watching the readiness of our children. It is role modeling. First you watch mommy and daddy do. Then we do together. Okay, let's do together, and then we are actually watching them. Are they doing the right way? If not, then we gently correct. And when they are older, when puberty hits, for example, they will be curious about more things. And so it is a continuous dance that parents, educators, caring adults have with young people. We look at them at every stage of their development.
So we're seeing these avenues, where victims can turn to seek help, right, Aslam? But what if we know about someone who consumes such content? How can we help them?
Well, I spoke with the Institute of Mental Health to understand a bit more about the psyche and the experiences of the perpetrators. Now, I understand that from the Institute of Mental Health's perspective, they view those who are having sexual feelings towards children, they recognize it as a form of disorder, and it is a recognized mental illness. Now, the general term that they have to identify such perpetrators or those who seek help in this case is paraphilia. So anyone who has sexual arousal towards anything atypical, for example, children or animals, is classified under this umbrella. And treatment is available, including psychotherapy. And there's also medications that can be prescribed to reduce the person's sex drive. Now, IMH adds that treatment can range for up to from 2 to 5 years, and they normally see positive impact after 1 year.
Aslam, thank you so much for this very important report. Aslam Shah there on cases of online child abuse in Singapore.